Hi, I'm Randy Burke, CEO of DCS Global Data-Centric Solutions. We're so excited today to be talking about our first ever global summit. This is the vision, frankly, of Neil Lethang, our president, and Neil's with me, so I'm going to get him to speak a bit about that, and we're all ears. Neil.
Yeah, happy to be here with you. Listen, the last 3 years, regardless of where you've been in the world, where you are, where have you been, the last 3 years we've shared a fabric, a common fabric, and that is the global pandemic. And now that we're through the other side of that pandemic, and we're trying to establish new norms and new patterns and new behaviors, what struck me is that there are new and emerging needs within the industry from a janitorial and a property management perspective. And so what struck me is that we could get together a global community, janitorial companies from Canada, throughout the United States, different parts of Europe, the UK specifically, Australia, New Zealand. Let's get together as a global community and let's talk about some things we've learned in terms of post-pandemic. What are the pressures? How do you remedy those pressures? How do you serve your client better? And so what struck me is that there's an opportunity to invite property management professionals and janitorial operators from around the world to join us. February 8th, live from the ISSA global headquarters in Chicago at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's every indication that we're looking at a tremendous turnout. Our agenda is fantastic.
Yeah, well, it's exciting, and I've seen the agenda, and I mean, now looking at some of the solutions as we see it, and I know you've had this vision around two major things in my mind, you know, what we call a current contract analysis and a renegotiation. In other words, how to avoid going to bid for the right reasons. And then I know you want to talk about mergers and acquisitions.
Sure. So again, if we look at coming out of the pandemic, the experience of the PM and the PM organization and the janitorial operator, they both need to reposition. The property management professionals have been waiting 3 years to reposition and reclaim their operating budget, where cleaning costs were extraordinary. On the janitorial side, the janitorial operator had a very robust 3-year window of wonderful revenue and profitability. It's over. It's over. So now you're left with a PM that needs to reposition their operating budget. You're left with a janitorial operator, regardless of where you are in the world, hence the global perspective. They need to shore up their contracts. They need to secure their market share. They don't want to go out for RFP. The property manager doesn't necessarily want to go out for RFP because of the wonderful relationship they have. What's the solution? Current contract analysis. Bring in DCS. We've got incredible, unparalleled market intelligence and insight, operational expertise. We're independent, we're unbiased. We use data to validate our assumptions and our decisions. And what we can do is guarantee a financial outcome where the property manager is satisfied, guarantee a financial income where the janitorial operator is satisfied with that particular financial outcome, and you don't have to go out for RFP, and the janitorial operator now has some certainty around a new term, a contract extension, another 3 years, a renewal. And so you've got both parties working together and succeeding.
And yeah, and there's a lot of mergers and activity out there and
Sure.
acquisitions. So I know you got a lot of experience there. So maybe fill us in a bit on what we might cover then.
Yeah, no, I've had the benefit of having been involved in several, mergers and acquisitions, transactions, let's call it. Listen, the janitorial landscape has been very, very active the last few years in the M&A space. And that's continued. And so, the janitorial operator who is wanting to shore up their market share, perhaps are challenged to grow organically. If their contracts go out for tender, hyper competitive, they run the risk of losing the business. Listen, M&A is a wonderful opportunity for them to acquire other companies. They simply work with us and we establish their investment thesis. We understand the geo markets they want to be in, the type of asset classes they want to be involved with from a real estate standpoint. We understand how much top-line revenue they desire. We understand the targets from an EBITDA standpoint. We know who is buying and selling. We know all the players. Our market intelligence is extraordinary. We can partner with them, help them find acquisition targets, and partner with them on that particular level. From a private equity standpoint, it's a little bit different. Certainly, our market intelligence is there, operational expertise. The private equity guys, those firms come at it from a predominantly financial return on investment perspective, don't necessarily understand or have the appreciation we might have for the operational due diligence, the strength of the leadership team, the management team. Is there innovation that's key to the organization? Who's staying? Who's coming? Who's going? And and I've been through this in terms of Janco acquisitions. You need to be really, really careful and fully understand what you're acquiring and who you're acquiring in terms of strengths. So independent, unbiased. We can work with the janitorial operator, and we can certainly partner very well with the private equity mindset. And frankly, having just rolled this out over the last couple of months, our activity on the M&A side has just taken off. We're working with groups out of country, overseas. We're working with investment groups in Canada and the United States. And I can tell you the amount of dialogue on a weekly basis, it's really increased, and we see that as a big part of our future and the future of those who are participating in the global summit, because they need to better understand their options when they're buying and selling, and do they want to expand, and geographically, where do they want to expand?
So yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting. Just want to invite everybody to sign on. It's going to be a Zoom. We'll have a chat box that you can ask questions, and we'll try and get as many questions as we can. But I think it's the first of probably several of these global summits.
Listen, in closing, I would suggest that there's been nothing else like it on a global scale. We think the turnout is going to be tremendous. We think that the agenda is timely. We're going to have a panel that reflects janitorial operators as well as property management executives, and we're comfortable fitting in between and offering their perspective. Certainly with my background in property management and the Janco space, just thrilled to be part of it and look forward to more summits in the near future.
Thanks, Neil, for having the vision to set this up. It's going to be an exciting time, so join us.